Every man rules a kingdom. That kingdom is his own life, his own mind, his own soul. But I ask you to look honestly at the nature of your reign. Is your life a kingdom that you govern with strength and wisdom? Or is it a land you are fleeing from, a territory you have surrendered to foreign powers? In the grand political landscape of life, every man holds one of three distinct titles. He is either a refugee, a warlord, or a statesman. The vast majority of men are living as refugees. He is a man without a homeland in his own soul. He is a psychological exile, constantly seeking shelter in the kingdoms of others, in a woman's approval, in a high-status job, in the validation of his social circle. He is defined not by what he builds, but by where he is allowed to take shelter. A rare few, through a bloody and difficult revolution against their own weakness, overthrow this reality. They ascend to become the warlord. This is the man who has carved out his own territory through sheer force of will. He is a conqueror, a man of immense power, discipline, and ambition. His kingdom is strong, but it is a kingdom defined by constant conflict. And then there is a final, highest form of rule, achieved by the wisest of men. This is a statesman. He has transcended the need for conquest. He is a wise and benevolent ruler who has transformed his war camp into a thriving, peaceful civilization. His power is not in his army, but in his wisdom and his legacy. Today, you will receive your political briefing. We will diagnose the powerless reality of the refugee, and we will give you the declaration of war and the strategic manual needed to launch your own revolution. This is the first step in the great campaign of your life. The ascension from a man who seeks shelter to a man who builds an empire of the self. Let us begin by examining the desperate life in the land of exile, the psychology of the refugee. The refugee's defining characteristic is that he has no inner homeland. His sense of home, his core sense of safety and self-worth, is located entirely in external territories. The man who cannot bear to be alone is a refugee from the empty landscape of his own inner world. The man whose entire mood is dependent on his partners is a refugee seeking asylum in her emotional state. He lives in a perpetual state of dependency. Because he has no kingdom of his own to protect, he has no real boundaries. He is a people pleaser, a chameleon. He will adopt the culture, the opinions, and the values of whatever foreign land he is currently seeking shelter in. He will abandon his own principles to be accepted, because to be exiled from a kingdom or his social circle is to be cast out into the terrifying wilderness of being alone with himself. This is the man who is a slave to his anxieties. His life is a constant search for security, a search that can never be successful because he is trying to build a permanent home on land that he does not own. A woman can sense this. She feels that he is not a fellow sovereign, but a refugee at her gates. The pressure of being his entire homeland is immense, and his dependency, which he mistakes for love, is ultimately a repelling force. The Stoics knew this truth. A man who has not first built his own inner citadel, his own capital city, is doomed to live as a beggar at the gates of others. If you recognize this feeling of being an emotional refugee, of drifting from one source of validation to the next, constantly seeking a home outside of yourself, then know this. The desire to have your own land is the birth of your sovereignty. The decision to stop seeking asylum and to start building your own nation is the most important declaration a man can ever make. You can sign that Declaration of Independence now by subscribing to this channel. This is not a refugee camp. This is a training ground for the founding fathers of their own lives. Join the revolution. The journey from refugee to warlord is a war of independence fought against the most entrenched enemy you will ever face, your own passivity. It is a war of conquest, and it requires a new and ruthless mindset. This ascension is built on three strategic pillars. The first is the declaration of war. A refugee becomes a warlord at the precise moment he decides to stop fleeing and to start conquering. He plants a flag in the dirt of his own soul and declares, "This land is mine. I will no longer seek shelter. I will build my own." This declaration is a conscious and unwavering commitment to a mission. Your mission is the territory you have decided to conquer. It is the life you have decided to build. It is your purpose, your telos. The refugee is defined by what he runs from. The warlord is defined by what he marches towards. This mission becomes a central, organizing principle of your entire life. It is your reason for the war. Without it, you are just a rebel without a cause, and your revolution will fail. The second pillar is the forging of your army. A warlord is nothing without a disciplined and loyal fighting force. Your army is your collection of daily habits. This is where the will to power, as described by the philosopher Nietzsche, becomes your commanding general. You must use your will to conscript your lazy, comfort-seeking impulses and forge them into elite soldiers. Every morning you wake up early to work on your mission. You are training a soldier. Every time you push yourself through a brutal workout, you are forging a stronger infantry. Every hour you spend learning a new skill instead of succumbing to distraction, you are sharpening your army's blades. This army is built through relentless daily drills. Most days, the training will not feel glorious. It will be monotonous and difficult. But the warlord knows that battles are won long before the first sword is drawn. They are won in the discipline of the training camp. A man whose daily habits are soft and undisciplined has no army. He has a disorganized militia that will scatter at the first sign of real conflict. A man with a disciplined army is a man who is ready for war. The third pillar is mastering the art of war. It is not enough to have a cause and an army. You must be a brilliant strategist. This is where the Stoic must learn from the unsentimental realism of Machiavelli. The refugee lives in a world of how he wishes things were. The warlord lives in the world as it is. He studies the terrain of human nature. He understands that not all people are good. He understands that weakness is an invitation for attack. He learns to be discerning, to identify enemies, to spot manipulation, and to act with strategic clarity. His art of war involves building fortifications. These are his non-negotiable boundaries. He makes it clear, through his actions, what the cost is for trying to invade his territory. He also learns the art of intelligence, of counterespionage. This is a Jungian work of understanding his own shadow, his own capacity for self-sabotage, so that he is not betrayed from within. He becomes a student of power, not because he is a tyrant, but because he knows that in a chaotic world, the man who does not understand power will always be its victim. When a man has made his declaration of war, forged his army of discipline, and mastered the art of war, he is no longer a refugee. He has waged a successful and bloody revolution against his own weakness. He has carved out a piece of the world and claimed he now sits on a throne he has won through fire and will. He is the warlord of his own destiny. He is a formidable ruler, the master of his own kingdom. He is respected. He is powerful. He is a man of action who takes what he believes is his. He has achieved a level of success and freedom that the refugee, still begging for shelter, could never imagine. But the warlord's kingdom is a kingdom of constant conflict. He is always at war with his competitors, with the world, and even with himself. He is always defending his borders, always looking for the next territory to conquer. His crown is heavy, and his peace is merely the brief, tense silence between battles. He has learned how to conquer a kingdom, but he has not yet learned how to truly rule one. The final ascension is not about winning another war. It is about transforming the war camp into a great and lasting civilization. It is the epic journey from warlord to statesman. We have left our hero at a pivotal moment in his great journey. He has accomplished what most men only dream of. He has transformed the flimsy, reactive raft of his youth into a powerful, purposeful ship. He is no longer a victim of the ocean of life. He is its skillful navigator. He has a destination in his mission, a keel of virtue and a compass of reason. He is a man of agency, a man of power, a man who commands his own vessel. And for many, this is the pinnacle of masculine achievement. But the journey is not over. The man on the ship, for all his strength, is still engaged in a constant battle. His life is one of perpetual navigation, of bracing against the waves, of fighting the currents, of always striving towards a destination on the horizon. The captain, for all his command, is still ultimately at the mercy of the sea. A large enough wave, a treacherous enough storm, can still sink the strongest of ships. His power is conditional. His peace is found in successful navigation, not in a state of being. And so, he feels the limitation of his own architecture. The constant striving can be exhausting. His journey, no matter how noble, is still fundamentally about him, his mission, his success. And deep down, he knows that the ocean is ultimately more powerful than any vessel that sails upon it. This is what leads a man to the final and most profound act of creation. He must learn to transcend the journey itself. He must begin the great work of transforming his ship into the lighthouse. This is a final ascension. It is a movement from doing to being. It is a journey from worldly power to spiritual sovereignty. The construction of the lighthouse requires three fundamental shifts in a man's philosophy. The first is laying a new foundation on the bedrock of reality. A ship is built to conquer the water. A lighthouse is built upon a rock so solid that the water becomes irrelevant. This rock is a profound, unconditional acceptance of reality as it is. It is a full and total embrace of amor fati, the love of one's fate. The captain of the ship fights the storm to get to his destination. The keeper of the lighthouse accepts the storm as a necessary and integral part of the ocean's nature. He stops resisting what is. He understands that the calm seas and the raging tempests, the safe passages and the shipwrecks, are all part of the unchangeable fabric of existence. His goal is no longer to conquer the ocean, but to be an unshakable presence within it. By anchoring himself to the bedrock of what is, he becomes immovable. The waves of fortune, which once threatened to capsize his ship, now crash harmlessly against his foundation. With his foundation secured on the rock, he begins to build the tower of his character. The architecture of a ship is functional. Its virtues are a means to an end, a successful voyage. The architecture of a lighthouse is monumental. Its virtue is an end in itself. The tower is built brick by brick from a solidified character, from a lifetime of choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. The bricks are his integrity, his justice, his temperance, his courage. The tower is not built to go anywhere. It is built to be something. It is a testament, a monument to his own highest principles. His focus shifts from what he can achieve in the world to the man he can become. He understands that the tower of his character is the only true legacy he will ever build, the only structure that time cannot erode. Finally, and most crucially, the lighthouse must be given its light. This is the ultimate transformation in a man's purpose. The light of wisdom, shine in service to others. The ship's purpose, no matter how noble, is ultimately self-referenced, to reach its own destination. The lighthouse has a transcendent purpose. It does not exist for itself. Its entire function is to shine a light to help other ships navigate the treacherous waters and reach theirs. The man who becomes a lighthouse has expanded his mission beyond his own success story. He comes to understand the great Stoic truth of sympathia, the idea that we are all interconnected, that an injury to one is an injury to all. His power and wisdom are no longer tools for his own advancement, but a beacon to be shared. The light he shines is his knowledge, his example, the profound calm of his presence, and the wisdom he has earned from navigating his own storms. He has transcended the ego's journey and has become a source of value for the world. And so, the final architecture is complete. What is the reality of the man who has become the lighthouse? His presence is a force of nature. It is a quiet, immense gravity. He does not need to announce his strength. It is felt. He is the most grounded man in any room, not because he is heavy, but because he is so deeply rooted. In his relationship, he is the ultimate safe harbor. A woman with a lighthouse is not with man on his own frantic journey. She is a man who is a destination. She feels an incredible sense of psychological safety with him. He is not threatened by her own journey, her own ambitions, or her own storms. He is the stable light she can always use to find her way back home. He provides guidance without control and strength without domination. Their connection is not one of two ships sailing side by side, hoping to stay on the same course. It is a connection of a ship that has willingly chosen to build its home port in the safety and warmth of a powerful, guiding light. His relationship with fortune, with the unpredictable ocean of life, is one of serene mastery. He no longer fears the abyss. He has transcended the battle. He watches the storms of the world rage, knowing they cannot touch his foundation. He sees the inevitable shipwrecks of life, and his light offers guidance and hope without being diminished by the surrounding darkness. He has achieved the ultimate goal of the Stoic philosopher, apatheia, a state of profound tranquility, a peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. The three architectures represent the complete journey of masculine development. You begin as a raft, a passive victim of circumstance. Through great effort, you become the ship, an active agent, the captain of your own life. And through even greater wisdom, you can become the lighthouse, a transcendent beacon, a source of stability for yourself and for the world. This is not a linear path with a final graduation. It is a choice you make every single day. In every moment of challenge, you choose. Will I be tossed about like the raft? Will I navigate with the striving effort of the ship? Or will I stand firm, anchored to the bedrock of my principles, and shine my own light like the lighthouse? The world has enough men adrift on rafts. It has many men sailing bravely on their own ships, seeking their own treasure. What the world desperately needs now, more than ever, are men with the courage and the wisdom to undertake the final construction. It needs men who are willing to stop sailing for themselves and to become a source of light for others. It needs lighthouses. Which stage of this great architectural journey do you find yourself in today? Are you patching the TFT, captaining the ship, or building the lighthouse? Your honest self-assessment in the comments is a powerful declaration of your intent to build. If you are committed to the great work of becoming an architect of your own soul, a man of unshakable stability and profound purpose, then subscribe to this channel. Join our crew of builders, and let us raise a world of lighthouses together.